Hey, INTPs. Um, yeah, there's an idea. Okay, so first of all, I am. I probably would want to slow down the video pace a little bit because I'm reaching that place where I'm almost just running to post the next video. And there's some longer term video ideas that I've been wanting to post, namely how to thrive as an INTP. That's the one I'd like to post, and I'd like that to be a slideshow. Um, let's set a deadline for that of next Friday. That being said, I still have ideas to post, and the idea I'd like to share today is, let's start with the phrase that change is death. Change is death. And I've been bouncing this around in my head because this has been very important in my own life, and it branches into so many things. But let's start with the idea. Maybe you're a 90s kid. I'm a 90s kid. You remember maybe when Sonic the Hedgehog was really popular, right? Well, you look around. Where's Sonic the Hedgehog? What I find very interesting about life is that all of these things no longer exist. They are ghosts of our past. They've died. They've died, and that's the only reason, the only way we can be here is because they have died. And good riddance, because we moved into different things. And I'm generally pleased by the change, but see. Something I'd like to point out here is you can change into whatever you like to change into, with reason. I'll start by saying one reason why I dove into MBTI is because I realize there are certain parts of me that don't want to change. What I mean is, there are certain directions that people tell me to go, generally TE directions, which means clean up your room and make a schedule and grow up, these ideas. And I said, oh, I can become that too. But I tried so many times, and I would just burn out. So what I've learned is there are certain parts of me that are like fundamental. They are the energy sources of my life. And that's why I got really into MBTI, because I realized if I go in the direction of my personality, I have endless energy. That being said, everything else is subject to change. I hinted at it a little bit in my past video, the last video, that one of the biggest ways I learned about this was I started a blog when I was 24 years old. And before that, I was just terrified of just exposure in general. In fact, I prepared this WordPress blog. I put a share link in the text explaining what it was on my Facebook, status post bar. And then I just left it there for like a week. I would say 4 or 5 days, because I was afraid of posting it. And then one day I just said, oh, whatever, I'll post it. And I sat that whole day just my mind racing because I wanted to take it down. But the beautiful thing was, when I woke up and looked at that the next day, I thought it was really cool that I did it. And that was the first taste of me realizing that all of that judgment was just in my head. And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about judgment, but I do want to talk about just it's linked to the topic of spirituality, but again, the big picture idea is that change is death. A very easy example of this is, I remember when I was 16, or at least I remember when I have some memory of being 16, and I remember when someone would tell me that they were 21, I'd be like, that guy is old as heck, right? Old as hell. Well, I'm 35 right now. Where is that guy? Where is that 16-year-old James? He's dead. That's kind of the idea. Like that whole mindset of 16-year-old James is completely gone. There's some parts of that are still here, but that aspect of me is gone. And what I've come to realize in my life, that understanding this whole aspect of identity is key to change. So, for example, I just started working out. No, actually, let me think of a better example. I can't remember a specific example, but let me describe the feeling. NE, extroverted intuition, gives me an idea to try something new. I try that new thing. And then, as I try that new thing, my whole body gets really uncomfortable because I've never done it before. And then I spend the rest of the day wondering, like, oh, is that right? Should I have done that? Should I have done that? Should I have done that? Inevitably, the next day, the same body gives me a very good logical reason why I should have done it. And this is a good idea. What's fascinating is, like, the farther I get away from these decisions, the more I look back and say, what was I so scared of? What was I so scared of? And it shines a different light on what is happening. It shines a light saying that these things that your instinct, your intuition is telling you to do are immensely logical, immensely good. I'll be honest with you right now. As I speak right now, I'm not sure if I'm making sense, because this is still quite new, and I'm sure when I look back after 3 years, I'll say, what was I even worried about? Sounds perfectly fine. But in the moment, it's hard not to think that your discomfort is real. So what I found is that my extroverted intuition has this idea, but to put in MBTI terms, and then I'll put in layman terms, my TISI, my current identity, says we've never done that before. That is illogical. Or in layman terms, that doesn't fit any of our current frameworks. It's stupid. But I feel the urge to do it anyways, and then I do it. And it's actually an awesome idea. But what I did when I was very young was I would beat myself up after doing it. When I was 14, 15, 16, like I presented a poem in front of the class, and I was terrified. I was my body was shaking. And then the next day, or I was sleeping in bed or lying in bed that night, the whole night being like, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? So that was in MBTI terms, you can say that's my TISI saying that anything you did is not you. Stay the same, right? But now I understand what's going on. Now what I understand is NE wants you to change. It sees a path for you to go. And yes, as I described, it is a risk. It is a risk, but that anything that you want to do is incredibly wise, incredibly intelligent. Of course, the inferior NE people around you will not agree, and that's the other interesting thing is, there is a whole society around you that will tell you not to do your NE things, because people don't do those things. But the interesting thing is, as well, when they get used to you having done that anything, they will also realize that was a very smart thing to do. I deleted the. So I went through a phase of like a year where I would go to public spaces and I would yell as loud as I could. And I still feel the positive effects from that. Just having been set free from this just physical prison inside. I mean, like, who was it? There's some guy that was talking about how we all walk around with like physical armor here. It's the same kind of armor that prevents you from smiling. If you're someone that always doesn't move your mouth much, it's the same psychological issue that's happening. And when you can realize that you're safe here, then you walk around with just a deep relaxation. But I did that for a year, and I'm so glad I did it. It feels so good. There are all kinds of things I did. I'll talk about. Maybe I'll just like list them out in another video. I was president of a Toastmasters club. Toastmasters is public speaking. Highly recommend. But each of these things, I felt the exact same cycle. One where the TISI part of me said, are you sure you want to do that? You've never done that before. What are you doing? This is idiotic. You should just say never mind and go back and hide. My NE is saying, let's just try it. And you know, when I was younger, I would beat myself up, and my TISI would be fighting for control again. And then I would realize, oh, that was actually a good idea anyways. But now when I'm older, let me see if I can outline to you the map that I've come to realize. The key to allowing yourself to die, the key to allowing change to happen, and also but also it's because I have experienced that it was good to do. The key is when you do the NE thing, then suspend all judgment. And what I've come to realize is the NE thing will be done out of all of your current logic. So you cannot use your logic to understand it. You do your anything, and then someone can ask you, why did you do that? And I can say, or you can say, I don't know, I just felt like trying it. Because no matter what you say logically, you have no explanation. Not yet. And a big idea I'd like to share just with the world, I mean, maybe this is my parent NE talking, but I think a lot of the issues that are happening in the world are happening because we're trying to understand and make logical what is currently not logical. In other words, we're moving into the unknown and trying to figure it out at the same time. That won't happen. The only way, you know, and you've heard, the only way, okay, I'll go there. There's certain coping mechanisms that people have in order to be able to do that. How do you be certain as you move into the unknown? If you want to be certain, number one, always be on the offensive and attack everything and say everything is bad. Then at least you have certainty, but life sucks then. Number two, always be cynical and think things are bad. Okay, you have certainty now, but also life sucks. The third one is the one that I worked with, which is doubt. And doubt is rough because it just causes you not to move. But actually doubt doesn't give you certainty, so never mind, that's not part of it. But to connect it to the world, That's what I see in the world. What I see in the world is this. None of us know how it's going to turn out. But there are people that want certainty in the face of the uncertain. And the way that you do that is you just borrow from negative emotions. You scare yourself or you get angry. But something that is far more wise, in my opinion, is to simply have no opinion and say, I don't know. Let's find out. I don't know, let's find out. The positive additional benefit of that is you become the first one to understand what it actually is. The angry person cannot look at it. All they can do is be angry at themselves. The scared person cannot look at it. All they can do is be scared. But you, with your open mind and open eyes, can simply stare at this weird, strange thing with no opinion. And in a very short amount of time, maybe 1 or 2 days, you can be familiar with it. This is why, in my opinion, INTPs and ENTPs, they are the first adopters. They are the innovators. They're the cutting edge. They're the bleeding edge, because they have this ability to remain open-minded even in the weirdest of stuff. So I have a big branching idea I wanted to share today about change being death. And it is linked to this idea of innovation. As we discover new things, then old things are bound to die, and people are being pulled into these new things. There are many ways to react to being pulled into new things. And 2 ways that people have found to shortcut certainty in the uncertainty is by holding on to fear or holding on to anger. You can get those things, you can get certainty, but it's an ignorant certainty. How do you get wise certainty? By remaining open and undecided and observant. This also is attached to personal change. If I do something new, like start a YouTube channel, it's not the time for me to judge it. First, I will post. Then I will observe my posts, and I will stare at it. Maybe post the first 50 videos, and it'll become much more clear to me what my message is, what my voice is, who I am. Yeah, I think that's the message. That's a big message I wanted to pass along. By the way, this is linked to many spiritual ideas, like the only time is now, the power of now, the present. In other words, as you change, you might remember the past, but where is the past? The past is only in your head. Let me take a moment to see if there's anything else I'd like to say about this. I can't think of anything else, but I did want to, that is the idea I wanted to cover, which is that if we move into somewhere new, personally or collectively, the old will die, the old will go, and the new will come. And the main control we have in these situations is how to conduct ourselves as the old is dying and the new is coming. And my proposal as an INTP, and my proposal actually to the human race, is to simply have no opinion and simply observe with curiosity. In my opinion, that is the fastest way to truly understand what's coming. and be wise in the face of the unknown. That's it for today.